Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back to the Nursing in Style podcast. Today, we are going to have an amazing time talking about beyond the bedside, creating additional income streams without working more shifts. Anytime we think about nursing, we always think about how do we get more money? Grab another shift, go travel, do these things. Not today. So, as we come here, we want to empower nurses to expand their impact, increase their income, and create opportunities beyond traditional career paths. Today's guest is Amber Villarreal, nurse, entrepreneur, coach, and founder of EMN Success Coaching. Amber is passionate about helping healthcare professionals build multiple income streams without quitting their jobs, sacrificing their values, or adding more shifts to an already demanding schedule. Through coaching, mentorship, and business development strategies, she helped nurses move from burnout and financial limitations toward greater freedom, flexibility, and purpose. Her mission is simple but powerful, helping nurses create a plan B before burnout becomes their reality. Today, we'll discuss how nurses can create additional income streams while continuing to practice at the bedside, the mindset shifts required to think like an entrepreneur, and practical opportunities available to healthcare professionals who want more financial freedom without abandoning the profession they love. So please help me welcome Amber Villarreal. I've been practicing this name this whole time, get right to this point, and still didn't roll those R's. So welcome to the Nursing and Style podcast, Amber. I am super thrilled that you're here. So say your name properly so that the people can hear.
Okay. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Amber Villarreal, and I am excited to be here with you, Danielle. How are you?
Fantastic.
You did great. You did. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, I tried. I was like, I got right up on it and I saw those L's and I was like, you about to chop this up. Yep, I did. So I just wanted to admit that. So let's get into this. So I'm a nurse and I have been a nurse for over 25 years, coming from the background of oncology. Tell me a little bit about how long have you have been a nurse? What is your background in nursing, and how through your journey of nursing, how did you become a an entrepreneur? So let's start. Where you graduated from nursing school. Let's start there and take us through the journey.
Okay, yeah. So I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin, hook 'em horns. I've been a nurse for 21 years. The 10 years, mainly all in the hospital setting. So started telemetry, med surge, did a little bit of oncology, but mainly in the recovery med surge with GI and urology surgery and recovery. And then for the last 8 years, utilization review, management, insurance, a lot of managed care and public health. So yeah, that's my journey. I kind of followed my a paternal grandmother who is a retired OBGYN nurse. I am a mom, a homeschool mom of 3, a wife, married to a nurse. And so it's just been an amazing, amazing journey. And how I kind of transitioned into coaching, nursing is an amazing field, right? It brings so much to our healthcare, and quite frankly, outside of the hospital. I've always been a preceptor, preceptorship within the hospital, in mentoring new grads. Kind of was on a referral basis of friends and my mom's friends, kids and grandkids becoming nurses and saying, oh, my daughter's a nurse. So mentorship has kind of been something that I've always loved to do. And then transitioning into my own role, as a nurse and then as a wife and a mom, really understanding the dynamic of what nursing brings. But for me, I became a different nurse after really I became a mom. Right. So married to a nurse, it was kind of, it's kind of like if you're married to the person who does your same career and job, it's an understanding. But I really feel like my wheels got turning a little bit after I became a mom.
Mm.
And so, realizing that that was the first time where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to stay in the hospital, right? And I didn't, and that's when I transitioned first. My first transition in a different path of utilization, review, managed care when I left the hospital. That was kind of the first, what I would say, different path that I took for nursing, and then. Mhm.
No, go keep going.
Yes, and then we moved to the Dallas Fort Worth area for my husband to pursue his love of cardiac, and he is a cath lab and an EP nurse. And he went back to school, so we moved up to the Dallas Fort Worth area, and that's about 9 hours from where we're from, and kind of our village. So we moved here. And I had 3 kids under the age of 5. Our oldest turned 5 when we moved. So then that's a different shift. And so I 100% worked remote. And then the big thing that kind of rocked, our world in 21 was COVID. COVID affected everyone in every different facets of their lives, whether you were in healthcare, a mom and dad trying to navigate school now. And so that was a big aha moment, I say, for me. My husband, who was still in the hospital, we had a routine. He'd come and get undressed in the garage and then come and go straight to the bathroom to shower. And so that was the routine. They were pretty much on, a mode of work. He was working 16-hour shifts, helping in different departments. And so ignoring, as we do in healthcare and in nursing, we tend to ignore that long shift of the back tweed or the pain or the mental exhaustion. And that was on overload during COVID.
Hold right there, because you dropped so many nuggets. I want to break these nuggets up a little bit, right? So as nurses, we do enjoy working, right? Working at that hospital, hitting those shifts. At least I did for a little bit. When we start dealing with family dynamics, depending on where you are as a mom, it becomes, wait a minute, who's gonna be home with the kids? Wait, this is not working. When I first became a nurse, I was married at the time. My husband was working in finance, 12-hour shifts in the car business. And then I started working 12-hour shifts in the hospital. And I quickly realized, as our son was getting ready to go to kindergarten, wait a minute, this ain't gonna work no more. This is not meshing up no more. Both of us can't be 12-hour shifts or be like ships passing in the night. And so I said, this is not how I envisioned my motherhood scenario was going to go down. So one of us have to begin to shift. And I started looking for a career outside of the hospital that would give me the flexibility, same way that you started looking for something outside of the hospital to give you that flexibility and freedom to be a mom, right? So many nurses that's looking to increase their income. Again, I don't know why, but first one is travel nursing, picking up additional shifts, working what we call the weekend specials, right? 16 hours back to back, thinking that we're knocking it out, oftentimes ignoring our health so many times that, when I first became a nurse, I'll never forget getting this funny ping in my side, right in my back. And I was like, what is that? And I was talking to one of my nurses that I was working with, and she said, oh, you probably have a UTI. It won't be your last one.
Yeah.
Why is this normal? What? Yeah. Why? Because when you're working on that floor, you're not drinking a whole bunch of water because you're going to go to the bathroom too many times. And so you are purposely not drinking, very little eating, right? Because you're trying to keep up with the pace of everything. It was ridiculous, Amber.
Yes.
And I thought, this is not about to be my life. This is not how it's going to go down. I'm going to be the nurse telling the patient you need to drink plenty of water, but yet I don't. Yeah. I'm going to be the one telling the diabetic you need to eat this way or that way, but yet I don't eat. So it just, the messages wasn't lining up. So what was the defining moment for you when you realized that relying solely on one source of income was no longer enough?
Well, just like you touched on, it was gradual nudges like that. I think one of the first time as a new graduate nurse, one of the first things that my preceptor said is hide crackers in your scrubs, right? It's like, because you will not usually get a lunch break, right? And it's like,
Wow.
okay, it's just, that's the normalcy, right? That's the norm. And it's taught over and
Mm-hmm.
over and it's passed down. And if you question it, you're kind of like the outlier. So that
Mm-hmm.
is something. And so what we do is we create this toughness and this normalcy. And so that's what I rode, right? I rode that wave just like you, and motherhood kind of
Mm-hmm.
shook that. But just like you said, it was me going just outside of work, outside of the hospital, and saying, okay, I need to switch course to be there, because one of the goals and the passions that I want to do is also homeschool my kids. Um,
Yeah.
so what I did was I went into case management in a remote, and I thought that I've made it, right? Now I can work remotely as a nurse. And so for 8 years, that was something that I thought I had, got the golden ticket. Um, and then COVID happened. And then
Mm.
for me as a nurse, utilization case management, we were working double time. I myself at home was still
Mm-hmm.
working 16-hour shifts. I mean, we were
Wow.
we were approving a lot of things that we hadn't before. So we had created new processes and new systems for
Mm-hmm.
COVID. And to be able to, it was not just hospitals in Texas. I'm certified, had a license in California. I travel nurse for like 4 years in California before kids and marriage. But I had hospitals in Hawaii. I had hospitals, so it was different time zones. And so
Yeah.
we ourselves were working overtime. So for me, here is my husband
Mm-hmm.
working double time in these systems, and not only physically but emotionally, and
Mm-hmm.
mentally exhausted. We have 3 kids, and me working 16-hour shifts as well. For me, he ignored the signs and I missed the signs. And so
Wow.
what happened, we were in survival mode more
Mm-hmm.
than, just being, nurses and parents to little ones. But what happened is he was ignoring his signs of stomach pains. He thought, I didn't eat enough. I didn't eat right. I'm going. And what
Mm-hmm.
happened is that one night in the middle of the night, he was running in pain, and I woke him up, and he's like, I've been feeling this pain in my stomach for about a week, and it
Uh-huh.
was just unbearable. And so he called to his hospital because I couldn't even drive him because I couldn't go in
Uh-huh.
during COVID. And so
Uh-huh.
he drove himself. He called his own ER, and they met him. And I got the call that early 6 a.m., 7 a.m. morning that graciously he was, drove himself to his own hospital. So they knew him. They called me and said, we are taking him into surgery.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Clip
And
that.
it was me not even being a nurse. It was me being a wife, a mom,
Mm-hmm.
in that panic mode of I can't even get to him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, me being my own nurse, him working there, I drove my nurses sat in the car with my kids so that I could say goodbye, and praying for him. He came out. He spent 2 weeks in the hospital, in his own hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, it was me still working, still having the kids, um, getting delivery for groceries. And in that moment, what I said was, that was an eye opening for me as far as the responsibility we take on, the more dependent on we were as two nurses, as two
Mm-hmm.
parents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if the income stopped, um, we had great income, but it was still
Mm-hmm.
tied to our jobs. It was still
Mm-hmm.
tied to we work to get paid. Um, and it was that trading time for money, um,
Yep.
at that time. And that was a big shift for me. The wheels
Mhm.
started turning at that moment, because I thought we did everything right, right? Um,
Yeah, the good
and so,
jobs.
yeah,
Mhm.
that was the change overnight. Um, if something happened to he or I at that point, me, because he was in the
Mhm.
hospital, our entire income plan disappeared.
See?
Hmm.
So at that moment, this is happening. Husband's going through surgery. We got these three kids. Everything is now starting to fall on you for a bit. We don't even know how long, right? We're going when you're going through the brunt of that, you're in survival mode. But what made you think differently of how did you even know that there were other options for other income streams?
Well, first of all, I come from an entrepreneurial,
Ah,
kind of background, and I have a front row seat. My parents, my mom was in childcare. Um, she did, nursing aid assistance and different stuff as we were little, but wanted to also be home with us. Went back to school in
uh-huh,
adulthood and got her early childhood development degree, and open up a daycare center, a learning center,
uh-huh.
back where I'm from. So when I was little, I saw my mom go back to school and create this life for herself. My parents owned and cared for children in our community for 35 years.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and so I had that, but still, wanted medicine, knew I wanted to be in healthcare, and chose that. But in that moment, I wasn't afraid of hard work. I knew that, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
anybody nursing school
Enough to say nurses,
is a
yeah, we
fee.
know hard work.
So yeah, I wasn't afraid of hard work. I knew that. i
Uh-huh.
i had worked, I mean, my entire, adult life. I mean, a baby coming out of nursing school and going, right, I had 21 years of hard work and helping, and so that wasn't what frightened me at that moment. What frightened me was the understanding that our family's financial future,
Mhm.
depended on one thing: our ability to
Mhm.
clock in.
Yep.
And, I saw my parents who were, self-employed,
Mhm.
working, but they still had to show up, right?
Mhm.
If you are self-employed, right? If
Uh-huh.
self doesn't, if self can't show up, that income still kind of pauses, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's why, you see the percentage of businesses that fail their first 5 years. And we could talk
Mhm.
about that, the soulpreneur. And so I already knew that. And so it was still tied, that ability to be there. And so that's when
Mhm.
I started thinking and, asking questions, going to networking events, reading, getting on master classes. Um,
Mhm.
and, Warren Buffett, the, great economist, says you
Yes.
need about 7 streams of income
Uh-huh.
um, coming in, but it's not tied to a job. All those incomes should not be tied to a job, should not having the ability of you clock in. It is duplication, it is residual income, and it is you having to not clock in and show up every single time to be able to have liquid assets. And so when I understood that, I just said, well, I need to figure out how I can do that. Right.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh.
and so for me, we sit on a gold mine, I feel like, for nurses. Um,
Ooh.
because
Yes, we
we,
do.
CEOs, CFOs, we have those skills. We put
Mhm.
out fires every second of the day as nurses. We
Mhm.
quarterback our floors, whether it's from the
Mhm.
charge nurse, the floor nurse, the OR nurse, the CRNA nurses have the
Mhm.
ability to juggle several things at times. If you put skills on a paper for a CEO running a Fortune 500 company, and the skills that is needed to be a nurse, whether it is in a small hospital or a trauma level 1 hospital, they are going
Uh-huh.
to match up, right? And so
Clip that. Mm-hmm.
we have to understand the skills that we have um,
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily have to be tied within the constraints of the hospital wall or beyond. Our skill set is our business card. And so we just
Yes.
have to tap into that.
Yes. So let's go a little bit deeper about EMN, success coaching. How did that come about? Let's get deeper into that, and then we'll find out the reality of nurse burnout.
Okay, yeah. So the first thing I do, and I will say naturally, right? If we
Yes.
as nurses, we need more money, we pick up shifts or we go get another certification or we go back to school. So I
Yep.
will say that's what I did, right? I went and enrolled in a 9-month program and got my certification in life and health coaching.
Okay.
And so, and it was great. It helped me understand and kind of, in homeschool world, we say I'm a homeschool mom. If your children start in school, you kind of when you decide to take them out, it's called
Uh-huh.
like unschooling or
Okay.
that deschooling. So I say a little bit of that. Coaching helped me ask questions better, reframe, that active listening. So it taught me some terminology and different frameworks. Really, it taught me,
Hmm.
you know, frameworks of how I wanted to align, right? And it had helped me kind of come up with my signature framework, which is what I say an income ecosystem. So
Yes.
for me, I help nurses and healthcare professionals, women who want to come out of the corporate America and say what you need is an income ecosystem, which is kind of a collection of aligned income streams that work together to support the lifestyle and the livelihood that you want instead of depending on a single paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So you align your skills. What skill sets do you have that you've honed in your career?
Mm-hmm.
Nursing, healthcare, and let's place that in a different realm that you can begin to utilize that. It's not going back to school. It's not getting a whole set. We realize we have a whole skill set already,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to do that. Whether it's coaching, whether it's mentorship, whether it is digital products, whether it's speaking engagement, whether it's an affiliate and a partnership. We have that already. And so we just have to say, what do we have that we can utilize to bring income? What are you passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a differentiation between a side hustle, which is not a bad thing. Whether we're picking up extra shifts, whether
Mm-hmm.
we're picking up Uber or something like that. That's a side hustle for me.
Mm-hmm.
That adds work, and it still requires you to show up every single time to get paid. An ecosystem creates leverage. Um,
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Most people build another job or another side
Mm-hmm.
hustle. I teach people to, build assets, have leverage, and create duplication for residual income. You have to create things that while you're sleeping, you're still earning
Yep.
money.
Yep. I love when John Hope Bryant often say that you need to be making that money while you're sleeping.
Yeah, it's
Right.
called
When
pillow money, right?
there you go, pillow money. Yes, better than pillow talk. Yes. I
Because we
love waking up
chase.
and seeing that.
Yes, I mean because we chase money, and
Mm-hmm.
for my faith, it says the Bible says the root of all evil is the love of money.
Right.
It's the love of money, but we need money. We
Yes.
need money to sustain our livelihood, to help, to give back,
Yes.
to volunteer. And so instead of just chasing the money, we need
Mm-hmm.
to chase alignment.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that because when you're chasing alignment and in your purpose, the money will follow you. It just
Yes.
does. So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions nurses have about earning income outside of their clinical role?
I think that we choose opportunities, and at some point when your back's against the wall, you have to choose income potential instead of what we want for our lifestyle, right? I never tell
Hmm.
nurses to quit if they don't want to. I just tell them to create options. I
Hmm.
feel like the biggest misconception is that we're one dimensional, and we don't really feel that about ourselves, right? But
Yeah.
when we're in nursing and healthcare, it's like, this is what I lost sleep over. This is what
Uh-huh.
I've wanted. And you can have passions within passions. The goal for us, I feel like, is that once we feel like we're kind of set in that, and it's comfortability to it, right? Like
Uh-huh.
you do what you know.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I feel like in nursing school we're taught that we have the ability to do both. You have the ability to love what you do, but still not conform to the burnout. I think
Hmm.
the biggest thing that we do is we conform to the normalcy of burnout. Like that's just how it's going to be. Like we shake it off and we go
Hmm.
back. We ignore signs. We are so we are masters and experts at taking care of others. It's what nurses, doctors,
Yes.
our cohort in the hospital, and we're not so good at taking care of us and realizing. And I think for others, whether it's becoming parents or taking care of an aging parent, once
Hmm.
you begin to try to show up in a different way outside of nursing, I
Hmm.
believe that is when kind of that fire burning, that light
Hmm.
bulb kind of comes on, but we don't know um, what that is. And I also think it's an imposter syndrome. It's like, I'm a nurse,
Yep.
I'm a
Yep.
doctor, I'm a healthcare professional, I'm not this or that. And even within our own friends and family, like I have when I'm transitioning, it's like, but you're a nurse. Like, what does that mean now that you're a coach and an entrepreneur? And it's like, I'm all those things, right?
Right.
Um,
Right. Flip that. Yeah.
yeah,
Don't be boxing us in.
yes. And
We
it's
are the
like,
architect.
yes, I'm like, we wear so many hats on any given shift.
Hmm.
And what I tell nurses is that you're just switching out that hat. You already wear a lot. Just take one off and put another and put entrepreneur in, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and and it's like, what is your definition of success?
Hmm.
For me, success means being um, present for the moments that matter. Being able to go to a piano recital, a soccer game, being able to pay
Yes.
for that, right?
Right. Right.
The flexibility to homeschool. At one point,
Yes.
I was working full time um, as a remote utilization review nurse and homeschooling my kids. I've homeschooled them from the beginning.
Wow.
Success
Kudos to
looks,
you.
yeah, I just, and so the ability to care for your health is also success. I
Yes.
remember, we know, sedentary and remote work is, sitting 8 hours at a time is kind of the new smoking, right? And so at that
I
time when I
like
was
that. Sitting for 8 hours is kind of the new smoking.
it is. I mean, my own health, when I was doing transition from running around the hospital
Yeah.
to transitioning into remote nursing really took a toll on my health, my weight
Yeah.
gain, my emotional stability, which I didn't realize until I was in that moment as well. And
Hmm.
knowing my family isn't dependent on the next shift is
Hmm.
success to me as well.
I love
um,
that. I love that. So as we get ready to wind down, just give us some best additional income opportunities available to nurse today. Name that additional income opportunities.
So opportunities are, coaching,
Okay.
whether it is starting a mentorship for other nurses, whether
Hmm.
you are coaching for business, for nursing, consulting, right? Nurses
Hmm.
consult, whether it's in healthcare or legal. There are a
Hmm.
lot of businesses who are bringing in nurses to consult for their own vision, for themselves, for their business, or on the legal side, wellness education, community building, digital products, speaking engagements,
Yes.
referral
Oh,
based.
you dropping nuggets like back to back to back to back. Like expert nursing, people thought that you had to have a certification to do that. You don't,
No.
right?
Mhm.
Consulting, you do need to be strong in your area that you consult. So I'm a home health consultant. I'm
Mhm.
really strong in that. I've done that over 20 years as a director, so I can run that whole organization as I have being a business owner. And so that's another opportunity. So coaching and mentoring, right? You said you were a preceptor and a mentor for a long time. Most
Yes.
people don't know that. NCLEX coaching. A lot of people have really good test taking skills that they can, and they have proven systems to be able to help and support another nurse. Digital products. Oh my goodness. Nurses that are in education, right? Learning and
Yeah.
development. Y'all are always creating
Yes.
products. Now you
Yes.
can create products for yourself
My
and sell
informatic
those products.
informatic nurses,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
out there and do that. My love is referral based business. I am building a team of nurses, healthcare professionals in the referral based business and a wellness company, and so
Ah,
still being able to bring that of education, health, and wellness. That's something. Content creation,
yes.
travel. So I'm really big on referral based businesses and partnerships, affiliates, because you don't, you only need pockets of your time, right? And when you're first
Yes.
starting out, especially if you are trading that time for money, you may not
Yes.
have a capital to pay that big. And so I say, start with that. I teach affiliate, referral based businesses where you can get in, learn the system, be coached and mentored
Hmm.
while you're making, your first 500, your first $1,000.
Yes.
And once you start doing that, it's, taking off that extra shift, right? So now you're
Yes.
making that side $1,500 extra a month. And now you don't have to pick up those 2 or 3 extra shifts,
That's
per
right.
paycheck,
That's
right?
right.
Or, you can start paying off that. We don't have to go all in. I think fear stifles us so much.
It
Just
does.
start, just
Yes.
start,
Jump. Jump. So we're going to
yes.
have to go into our rapid fire session as we get ready to shut down. But this has been absolutely awesome and insightful. So during our rapid fire session, you kind of give a one word type response, so
Okay.
you don't overthink it. All right.
Okay.
Several questions. One income stream every nurse should explore.
Um, Wellness based opportunity.
Fantastic. One financial lesson you wish you learned earlier in life.
Paying myself first.
Whew. One mindset shift that changed your life.
Um, Stop trading time for every dollar.
Ooh, clip that. One book every aspiring entrepreneur should read.
Um, hmm. I would say Brian Tracy, everything by Brian Tracy, but the power of self discipline is
Ah, I like that. I like that. One word that describes your mission.
um, empowerment, I guess.
I like it. I like it. So, if there's a nurse listening today who feels exhausted, financially stretched, and unsure about their future, what would you want them to know about creating a life with more freedom, purpose, and financial flexibility? And at the end of that, tell everybody how they can reach you.
Um, there's help, there's options. You don't have to quit nursing. You don't have to abandon the career you've worked hard to build, but you deserve options. You deserve opportunities, whatever that looks like. We can design the life that you want. You deserve flexibility. You deserve time for yourself, for your family. You deserve financial security that doesn't depend entirely on your next shift. Start small, start learning, start building, start connecting with those who've paved the path, who are in it right now. I don't feel like that I've reached where I want, but I want to bring other nurses along with me, because the life, I mean, it wasn't built for a burnout. It's built through intentional choices and consistency. And you don't need to quit your job to change your life, but you do need a system that allows you to build with intention, not exhaustion.
I like it. I like that. You pointed out intentional several different times. You pointed out what are your definitions of success? I want to take a moment, Amber. We had several people that were just commenting and giving you a lot of love in here. So I was trying to show some of those comments on the screen. A. Smith, good morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. Aisha, good morning. Tate, good morning. Narito. Powerful. Aisha Smith said, powerful. We do have skills we sit on. Yes, we absolutely do. Chanel says she agrees, Queen. Good morning, Raven. And Chanel said, thank you. So we had a lot of people, some good engagement, nurses recognizing that you do have opportunities to use your skill set. So if you're a case manager, you have opportunities. If you're in learning and development, you have opportunities. You pointed out informatics, right? ER nurses, y'all are like the beast when it comes down to putting in IVs.
Yes.
You're missing out on some super opportunities there, right? I mean, it's so many things. Consultant, if you're in management roles and you've helped to open up new hospitals, open up new locations, those are skills. And I know plenty of people that will pay well for a great consultant to come in and structure that business to help to ensure success. So, is there any particular nurse type that comes to you for coaching, or it's just kind of any nurse that you're looking for your pathway, you're looking for that additional stream of income, and you help them to get on the path? Like, tell me, who is your customer avatar? Who are you targeting so that they can come to you and tell them how to find you?
Yeah, it's any nurse, any healthcare professional. I am doing my own coaching and consulting, but the consulting is all their partnerships, which is how you and I found each other, right? So I partner with nurses, with doctors, and my own, affiliate with the wellness company, a marketing executive for the largest online wellness company in North America. And we have nurses, doctors, functional medicine, stay-at-home moms, entrepreneurs that are building, businesses on the side. So it is, women, nurses, healthcare professionals that understand, they're at that aha moment, or they're just curious of like, okay, I hear you. This sounds great, but how do I get started with pockets of my time creating, financial freedom, financial stability, or just, okay, how can I make that extra $500 to $1,000 in the next couple of months so I don't have to pick up that extra shift? And, it first starts with a clarity call, getting to know that person and what they want, because there are different things out there, as you and I have spoken about, but it's the alignment. It's, what they feel like. If I don't, have it, or they don't feel like, then I have, great referral. I'm building up, Danielle, we've talked about, you with your home health agency, and I've referred other nurses who've come to me, and I said, I I know the person to come to. And so it's also creating that network. And that's what my consulting is as well.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's building that and having that nurse or healthcare professional come to me. I have a doctor out in New Jersey that's, helping other LTACs
Mhm.
kind of start and give his expertise toward that. And so it is just sitting down with that person and kind of seeing what their passion is, what they feel like they have time for.
Mhm.
We feel like that we do not have time for anything else on our plate, and it's not that we do not have time. It's that we're trading so much time for money that our
Yeah.
plate is full with things that are
Mhm.
not allowing us to create financial stability. We need to take that off of our plate to add something that's going to give us options and opportunity. And that's what I help
All
with.
right. I love it.
Mm.
So are we following you on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook? Where do you want the people to follow you?
Yes, on Facebook, it's my first and last name backwards, Villarreal Amber. My name is Amber Villarreal. I'm on LinkedIn in the same name. They can also email me at info@emncoaching.com. That's info@emncoaching.com. I'm on Instagram as Amber the Nurse Coach. And so, yeah, love to help in any way I can.
I love it. I love it. Thank you all once again. I put it out there in the comments where you can contact Amber if you're looking for those additional streams of income. It has been an absolute pleasure being here with you today at Nursing and Style Consultant. We're empowering you to lead your best life. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.